this is Munson with Munson Music, and we're going to talk about how you play a song called Amnesia by 5 Seconds of Summer. And it starts off with some really cool little broken chord ideas around some major chords. And we start off on a D major chord for our intro. And then we play D major, first finger goes to the G on the 2nd fret, second finger on the high E 2nd fret, and then third finger on the B string 3rd fret. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, that sounds a D major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now around Ds in general, it can be kind of cool to lift the 2nd finger, always a dangerous finger to lift, to make a D sus2, or you could add in the pinky on the high E 3rd for D suspended chord and kind of say some things around that. And you hear this cool little broken chord idea, and if you wanted to follow that lick, you'd be playing the G string to the B string and then the G string to the high E string. So it's kind of a G, B, G, E, G, B, G, E idea. And you could try that with the pick, or you might want to try the fingers actually kind of breaking that up, kind of working that D idea. And then from the D, we'd be going to a G major chord. And normally you do this first finger on the A 2nd, second finger on the low E 3rd, third finger on the high E 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now you may also want to dig on putting the 3rd finger on the B 3rd, pinky on the high E 3rd, kind of working that for your G major. And you'll hear a really cool little lick around that too, where you could start open G, 3rd fret on the B, open G, and then you go 2nd fret to the high E, and kind of do a hammer on. I'm doing that 2nd finger to 3rd, or to the pinky actually, kind of 2 to 4 as a hammer on. Back to the open G, and then B string, G string, B string. So G, B, G, high E with the hammer on, and then G, B, G, B. So we got kind of our D idea, and then our G idea. To kind of kick off the intro and also through the verse. If you wanted to kind of follow that part, that could be a really cool lick to kind of follow. Or if you just want to strum through it and kind of support your voice, there's a couple different strumming options you may want to think about. And you could even do it with kind of an 8 down count, kind of a D, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, G, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm doing an 8 down count and adding a little bit of muting to that. Or one of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 like this is down, down, up, down, up. So you did the D and just tried that a lot. You got down, down, up, down. Try that through that intro progression. You have the D, down, down, G, down, down, B, down, G, down. Now another strum pattern you may want to think about, you definitely hear this through the chorus part, is something called a 16th note strum pattern. And what I mean by that is if you're tapping your foot to the beat, right now we're dividing that beat into 2 parts with our down, down, up, down, up. And 1, 2, and that's called an 8th note. What a 16th note is where you divide that into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And one of my favorite 16th note strum patterns is a long down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up. And what I mean by that is if you take the D and do a down for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you'd be doing on the first beat. Then on the second beat, you do a down on 1, down on 3, up on 4. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, down. 3rd beat, you do it up on 2, down on 3. So on 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 up, down, 1 up, down, 1 up, down. And then on the last beat, you'll be going down, up, down, right along with the 1, 2, 3, 4. So down, up, down, 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 down. So all together, you got down, 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 down. Try that through the intro. We have a D, down, 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 G, down, 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 G, down, down, down. So you want to kind of think about using that strum pattern too. And then from that intro, then we'll be going into our verse part. And our verse starts with that same idea, actually kind of our D alternating with our G. And we do that twice. And then you hear this cool little other lick come in. If you wanted to kind of follow the lick idea, you kind of have the open E string with the open G at the same time, kind of working an E minor idea actually. And the way you play E minor, first finger goes to A on the 2nd fret, second finger goes on the D on the 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an E minor chord. It sounds really sad. Now you may also dig on adding in the third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third, kind of working that as an E minor 7. And then from the E minor, there's this quick change back to a D major chord, but you'll kind of hear the low E string on the 2nd fret kind of come out on that. And actually, you can even take the regular D shape, take your thumb and put them over the low E string 2nd, and that's something called D/F sharp, or D with an F sharp in the bass. Or another option there would be using something called a D sus/F sharp, where you do first finger on the low E 2nd, second finger on the G 2nd, third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third, to kind of help point back to the G chord. And if you were doing your down count, actually, this is where it gets a little weird. You'd have your E minor, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then go to the D/F sharp for 2, and then go back to your G chord. So that's a little weird, that little walk, actually, if you want to get that in there. Or if you were doing your down, down, up, down, up, you could do the E minor with the down, down, up, and then go to the D/F sharp with a down, up, and then kind of hit your G with the whole pattern. So through the whole verse with the down, down, up, down, up, just to kind of go over it that way. You have the D, down, up, down, up, G, down, up, down, up, D, down, up, down, up, G, down, up, down, up, E minor, down, up, D/F sharp, G. And the D, da, 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 G, D, da, 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 G, and then the E minor, down, up, D/F sharp, G, E minor, down, up, D/F sharp, G. Kind of dig on it that way. Or if you want to kind of use those licks from the intro, for the E minor, D/F sharp, G change, this is a little weird. You do the open E with the G string at the same time to the 3rd fret on the B string, back to the open G, 2nd on the high E, open G, 3rd fret on the B, and then go to the 2nd fret on the low E for the open G string, for 3rd fret on the B, and then we go to 3rd fret on the low E string with the open G, 3rd on the B, open G, 2nd on the high E, and then you may want to kind of do the thumb, index, and middle actually to kind of do the low E, G, and B string all at the same time. So that you may have to pause the video at this point and practice the tap. But you have kind of that 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 3, 2, and 0, 3, 3, and 0, 3, 0, 2, 3, 0, and 3 all together. It's kind of a cool little hit. So if you wanted to, you could try the verse that way too. Kind of your D idea, G idea, D idea, G idea, but then our E minor idea, D/F sharp, G, and then back to the D idea, G, D, G, E minor, D/F sharp, G, and then back to the E minor, D/F sharp, G. So you can kind of dig on it that way too, kind of working it as just a finger style lick idea. Or if you're digging on the 16th idea, you can kind of take on the E minor D part, you can work that as a down, 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 up, down, and then save the last down, up, down for your D/F sharp to kind of get it in there. So if you want to work it that way, you'd have the D, G, verse, then we'd be going into our chorus part. And our chorus starts on the D major, and then we go to an A major, and this is a little weird because you'll kind of hear a C sharp in the bass here too. But you could use it just a regular A major, where you do first finger on the D second, second finger on the G second, third finger on the B second. Kind of big party on the second fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an A major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now you may also dig on lifting off the third finger, kind of making that an A suspended second. We're adding in the pinky on the B third for an A suspended chord and kind of saying some things around the hand. Or if you want to get that bass note in there, and this is a little weird, you could kind of cover the A chord with the first finger as kind of a D, G, B string bar, and then take the third finger and go to the A string on the 4th fret. But that might even feel better with the pinky, depending on the size of your hand. That's called an A/C sharp. So it's an A major, but it's got a C sharp note on the A string in the bass. And then from the A/C sharp, we go to a B minor chord. I normally do this as a 2nd fret bar, 2nd finger on the B 3rd fret, 3rd finger on the D 4th fret, pinky on the G 4th fret. If you strum all those together, that sounds a B minor chord, and it sounds really, really sad. Now you may also dig on lifting off the pinky and making that a B minor 7, or you could, another way to play B minor 7 is to do first finger on the A second, 2nd finger on the G second, 3rd finger on the high E second, or you can kind of do the first finger on the A second, 2nd finger on the G second, 3rd finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third. Might be a cool substitute for that. And if you dig on that for the B minor, you may want to think about using an A7 sus for the A, where you can do first finger on the D second, 2nd finger on the G second, leaving the 3rd finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third. So really easy way out on that. We kind of doing that D major to the A7 sus to that B minor 7 drone, and then working it through the G. Now we don't really have to move the 3 and 4. You could even use D sus and never have to move the 3 and 4 through the chorus, which could be a cool way to kind of work it too. And you could really work any of those strum patterns we were just talking about. You could do the 8 down idea, D, down, up, up, down, up, D, A, B minor, G, or if you're digging on the 16th, you got D, A, B minor, G, might be a cool way to do it too, A/C sharp, kind of a little piece of our intro, so you kind of hear that those intro licks kind of come back on the D and the G, and you may want to kind of bring those back. Or something else that I like to add to a song like this too is bass notes. And a lot of times on that first down or the down, down, up, down, up, you can throw in a bass note for the chord. So on the D, you'd have the D for the bass, unless you're doing the D/F sharp, in which case you'd have the low E for the bass. On the G, you'd have the low E string for the bass. Minor, you'd have the low E for the bass. F sharp, you'd have low E for the bass. And then on the B minor, you'd have the A for the bass. And on the A, you'd have the A string for the bass. And if you're doing the A/C sharp, you'd still have the A for the bass. So we can try that intro with the bass down, up, up, down, up. You'd have D with the D bass, down, up, G, down, up, to kind of set us up for the next verse. Or if you're digging on the 16th pattern, you could work it off of bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, or bass, bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, or bass, bass, down, down, up, bass, down, up, down. So we tried that through that intro return. You have the D, G, kind of dig on that. And then from there, then we'll be going into our next verse. And you can really work either one of those patterns and add basses to them. So we have the D, G, D, G, then we have E minor, D/F sharp, G, or if you're digging on the 16th, D, G, D, G, E minor, D/F sharp, G, chorus. So we tried that with basses. We'd have that D, A/C sharp, B minor bass, G with the bass, D with the bass, A/C sharp and A bass, B minor bass, G with the bass. Or if you're digging on the 16th, you have a D, A/C sharp, B minor, into our bridge part. And on the bridge, it almost sounds like we do kind of 2 hits on each chord. It's kind of this A/C sharp, B minor, G, D/F sharp, A/C sharp, B minor, G, and then an E minor. Or if you wanted to kind of work that as a fingerstyle idea, this could be cool too. And normally with fingerstyle, and actually there's lots of ways to work it for that lick at the beginning, but your thumb normally becomes your bass player for the E and the A and the D string. And normally you line up your index finger's job is to kind of play the G string, middle finger's job is to play the B string, ring finger's job is to play the high E string. And that's kind of a setup you might want to play around with for that intro lick actually. But through that bridge part, you could even kind of take that as an idea and kind of just get used to moving all the fingers at the same time. Kind of thumb, index, middle, ring all together is kind of an idea. And that can feel really weird because your index, these guys are going this way, this guy's going this way, so it's kind of this weird clampy thing. But you may want to play around with that. And so if we tried the bridge that way, the cool thing about that is you end up doing all the notes at exactly the same time. Now the one chord you may want to change that setup for is the first chord, actually, the A/C sharp. So if you're doing the A/C sharp, you may want to take the index, middle, ring and move them to the D, G, and B. So kind of middle 4 strings together. But then you got your B minor, and then the G, and then D/F sharp, and the A/C sharp on the middle 4 strings. B minor. I'm adding a little slap thing too, aren't I? Yeah. That could be cool too. Kind of a chord, slap chord. Percussion going in, kind of taking my right hand, kind of just slamming it against the guitar, but not too hard. But anyway, that might be kind of a cool way to kind of work it through that bridge part. Or even playing around with different string setups actually can be very cool. Main thing is going to be getting the right bass note in there with the thumb. G, E minor, and then from there, we'll be going into our last chorus. So we've got the D. C sharp, minor, G, or if you know the licks around these chords too, feel free to kind of take this lesson and run with it any way you want it to too. Or these drum patterns, kind of take it, mix it up, make it a little bit your own too. If you wanted to, actually, if you're digging on kind of that fingerstyle idea, you could even throw in an open D string, for instance, with the thumb, kind of to kick off that lick with the index finger. I'm kind of lining that up, index, middle, index, ring, actually, through that fingerstyle idea. So then on the G, randomly, you could throw in the low E third for that bass note. So it might be kind of cool to add in some thicker basses, too, if you want a little bit thicker sound. In the recording, but I know for myself I'd really want to play a D at the very, very end. Make people clap. But that's the basics of how you get strummed through Amnesia by 5 Seconds of Summer. So good luck!